We are seeing signs of spring everywhere. We have some new arrivals on our farm, and we've been spending some great time out with friends. Come along with me for another day in the life of our homeschool. I love seeing all the things that are popping up around here. I've seen periwinkle, daffodils, crocuses. We have a little patch of hyacinths coming up by our walnut tree. They are just lovely. Everything is coming to life on our farm, and I can't be any more excited about it. Spring is my favorite time around here. Our strawberries are looking really good. Hopefully we'll get a nice crop from them this spring. It's a new school day for us, and James is up first. He is so good about doing his farm chores. He has one day a week where he does the animals outside for us. He does a great job. So we're getting started on a new day, and the kids are slowly trickling down. William's doing a puzzle at the table. Some of the other kids are sitting in the kitchen, just doing some card games. We all just kind of get up slowly and get going quietly. I like it to be kind of quiet when we first get up. If this is your first time on my channel, my name is Sherry. I'm a homeschooling mom to 10 kids. I'm a former public school teacher turned homeschool mom. This is our 14th year of homeschooling. I love coming on here every week, encouraging other moms in the incredible work you're doing to raise up the next generation. You're going to see my husband in and out of this video. He was off today. Now, I did a video several weeks ago on homeschooling when your husband has a random schedule. I talked about some of the benefits and the challenges of having a husband who works a random shift work. Of course, the benefit is he's here today. We love having him here, but I would rather not be doing school on his day off. And sometimes we can be flexible like that, but today we really need to get a school day in. So he's going to be in and out. He usually helps me just wherever it's needed. And if I don't need help with the kids, then he has work that he needs to do around the house. So while it's really nice to have him here today, to have him be able to be home during some of our school days, just know that sometimes he's gone on the weekends or he's away during a holiday. And the Lord's really just been teaching me to be content with whatever he's given us, to accept the things that I can't change, and to just be thankful. One thing that our girls have done when he's gone on the weekends that I love is they've planned to have tea parties, especially if it's like a Sunday afternoon. Usually around 4 o'clock is the time when we just miss Dad not being there if he happens to be gone on a weekend. And so they have made this tea time, and I love it. They plan it. It's kind of just a great pick-me-up when we need it, when everyone else is doing family stuff and Dad's away. So this is an idea my girls came up with, and sometimes we can convince the older boys to stay with us. They don't want to have anything to do with the tea party, but they do like to eat the goodies. So on this morning, my husband made breakfast for the two of us. The kids mostly got their own things, and while he's making breakfast, I started reading to some of the kids. 4 days out of the week, I read a Bible story to them, but the 5th day, I do a missionary story. Last year, we read the autobiography of George Mueller, and that took us a long time. It was incredible. I highly recommend it. But this year, we're doing Trial and Triumph. It's one we've done several times before, and it's just individual short stories of missionaries. It's so nice that Nelson and I can sit down and have breakfast together. We like to just take a little bit more time than usual, especially because it's his day off. Usually at breakfast, we'll have a conversation about what he wants to get done today and what I want to get done today, so we can both be on the same page with our expectations. One interesting thing we have going on around here this week is that our washing machine is broken. Now, we have a family of 12 people, and our oldest son, Ty, is home from college this weekend, or for 2 weeks. He's home for spring break, which has been wonderful to have him here. But our washing machine is not working, and this has been a real challenge, as you can imagine. Thankfully, my parents live close by, and we've been running over there and doing laundry. My mom was so nice to fold laundry for me and to send it back home. So we're trying to make do here. Now, Nelson can usually fix just about anything, but for this one, he called the repairman. He came pretty quickly, but our machine needs a part, and it's going to take a week for it to get here. This is just another one of those normal life challenges that happens to every family, and we just have to find a way to make things work and keep moving on. For our morning time recently, we've been doing Isaiah 53. Last year, we memorized it in preparation for Easter, so we've been reviewing that. We've been reviewing Rudyard Kipling's poem, If. I would love for the kids to memorize that one. The whole poem is just inspiring you to be a person of character and fortitude.
The number 7, 1607, Jamestown was founded in Virginia. Number 8 was Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, North Delaware. Further south you'll find Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina. Georgia was the southernmost of 13 colonies. Number 14, for majesty that we should look at him, and no beauty that we should desire him. He was despised and rejected by men, one from whom men hide their faces. He was despised, and we esteemed him not. Surely he has borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we esteemed him stricken, smitten by God, and afflicted. And upon him was the chastisement that brought us peace, and with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned.
If you can dream and not make dreams your master, and think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and treat those two impostors, or wash the things you gave your lives to, broken, and stoop and build them up with. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all then
The last thing we're studying today is picture study. We're working on the artist Georges Seurat, and today we're doing Sunday on Le Grand Jatte. That's a very famous painting that he did. And I happened to find a small picture of it. I have these cards that I got from Veritas Press a long time ago. In fact, I'm not even sure if they're still available, but I love them. And they just have random artists with some of their most famous prints on them. If I don't have a print for something that we're doing, I use the computer. I think it works just as well. Although I will say, if you have the picture to display in your house, I do think the kids remember it a lot longer, and it just seems to have made more of an impression on them. After morning time, we get started on our chores. And one thing, I was working a little bit on one of the bookshelves today. One thing, if you're a homeschooling family, you find books everywhere. And I feel like I have to constantly be going through. We have books that are falling apart, and I just have to get rid of some and put some on a list for me to get again. It just seems to be something that we're always working on. I have found books in the most random places, behind the sofa, out in the barn, left out in the grass. That one makes me pretty upset because then they're ruined usually by the dew the next morning. But if you're a family that homeschools, you just usually have a lot of books, and it's a lot to keep up with. Now, we had a really exciting event happen a couple days before this. I got a text from my husband when he was at work that our new layer chicks are in. So these chicks come every spring. The kids love when we get our new laying hens. And it was really cold this day, so I had to go get them. They get delivered to our post office because we want to get them under the lights and get them nice and warm as soon as possible. If they get too cold, then they just won't make it. We've been doing chicks for a couple years now, and it really is a learning process. It's not something I grew up with, but the most important thing is to keep them warm. So you want to get them under the lights as soon as possible.
Cheers, I feel like there one.
they're so
I called brownie.
Wait. I want this one. This one's so cute.
I want brownie. So cute. Thanks, though.
I'm gonna have this in mine.
I
like this one because it has like a stripe, 2 stripes down.
Look at this one.
Oh, Julie, that one's so cute.
I get it. Call it.
Oh, careful.
How am I supposed to remember mine though?
Yeah.
Well, look at the.
Hey, guys, I was in golden nugget. Guys, this one's mine. Mine is fluff.
Yep, this one's mine.
Cute. Very nice. Look, William.
Hey, that one was Julia's.
Yeah, they're all different colors.
I pick one?
Here, you want to hold this brown one? This one is huge.
There you go.
After keeping them warm, the second most important thing is to make sure there's fresh water, especially in the summer. In the summer, we get our meat chicks, and so sometimes when we get them, it's really hot. They still need to be put under the lights right away, but a lot of times it's just important for them to get to water. And if you don't have the right equipment, that's another thing we learned. We were putting out little plates of water, and sometimes they would fall in it and get wet, and then they'd be too cold. They're just really vulnerable. Now back to our day at home. We are finished with chores, and Holland wanted me to read this book. This is a book that I read to a lot of the kids. It's Robert Louis Stevenson's book of poems. We love The Cow. I love the poem My Shadow, The Swing, Block City. There's just so many good ones in this book. This is another Ambleside Online suggestion, and it's one I've really come to love over the years. Now at this time, my other kids are all starting their checklists. I did a video last week on our kids' checklists. I showed you each of their checklists. We have a 10th grader, 9th grader, 7th, 5th, 3rd, 1st, and kindergartner, and then we have 2 preschoolers. Sometimes it's just nice to see what other people are doing, and as long as you can keep your perspective and not try to make something that's not going to work for your family. I'm still working with my son James on learning area and perimeter. He's gotten the perimeter down pretty well, and he learned how to find the area of a 2-dimensional figure. Now he's learning how to find the area if you have 2 rectangles and you're trying to find the space in between them, so like on a picture frame. We use Singapore math. This is one that I have found works really well. The kids are able to pretty much move independently, and then I just help them when they come to new concepts. So I just have to teach him that he's doing the same thing he was doing last week. He's just finding the area of each rectangle, but he's going to subtract the smaller rectangle from the bigger rectangle. And he picked up on this pretty quickly, which he usually does pretty well at math. So Singapore works well for us. Now, sometimes I'll have a morning where 3 or 4 kids are coming to a new concept, and so that can be a little overwhelming, and usually I can just only do 1 or 2, and the other kids, I'll either fit it in later in the day or we'll just rearrange things. But usually only 2 or 3 kids are learning something new, and the other kids might have a review. So somehow we are able to balance it all out and make it work. Now, another really fun thing that we did on a different day this week that I wanted to tell you about was the homeschool skate. We have a local roller rink that has a homeschool skate twice a month, and this is a really fun time for us. On this day, Nelson, this was another one of his days off, so he was able to come with me. And one thing that was really nice about it was that because he was there, he was able to watch the little ones, and I got to skate. Now, I haven't been on roller skates in many years, and we have 10 kids, and you know what pregnancy can do to you after a couple kids, things get stretched out. I was a little nervous about getting on skates again, but once I got started, and my whole goal was just don't fall, and the kids were helping me, it was just so much fun. I had a blast skating with my kids, going around, and this was such a fun atmosphere for them. A lot of their friends were here. They just tend to meet all kinds of people from just different co-ops and different places that we've met some of these homeschool friends. Our older boys came as well, and they were able to meet up with some of their friends, and it was just fun for everyone. They have a homeschool wall where they put all the pictures that some of the skaters have colored, and it's just really nice that they featured that for us. Back to our home. On this day, it was super windy out. One job that I have to do on Monday mornings is I have to get meat out for the week. And this is, if I get meat out, then we just have a meal. And so I try to always stay on top of this. Sometimes I get behind. On this day, I'm a little behind because that ground beef on the left is what I was using for lunch. And the sausage on the right, that's something I used for a later meal. While I was in the garage, I took the chance to check in on the chicks. This is a couple days after we got them, and they're already growing. For lunch today, I made what we call cowboy grub. It's a recipe from Trim Healthy Mama. It's one I've used for many years. It feeds a lot. It's one of my husband's favorite meals. There's our son, our oldest one's home. I love seeing him with his little brother. So I didn't really make a lunch meal. This is more of a dinner meal. If it was just me and the kids, I probably wouldn't have gone to all this trouble. This meal has a ground beef base, and I add onions and peppers, and then some spices, and then it has rice, corn, black beans, diced tomatoes, and then we just serve it on tortilla chips and put sour cream and some cheese on top. So this is one of my husband's favorites. That's why I decided to make it today. And he was watching a game while I was making lunch, and the boys were all watching it with him. Normally, I let one child help me in the kitchen, and I wouldn't probably have had Holland help me for this just because there's a little bit more involved. And if I was home by myself for lunch and had all the kids around, I probably would have picked someone that could be of more help. But since my husband was there, it was a good day to let her help me. If you have a 2-year-old that you've let help with the meal, you know it's really not that much help. It's actually more work. But since I had some extra help at home today, I let her stand beside me and do some of the things. These are the spices that go into cowboy grub: chili powder, garlic powder, salt, and pepper. Some of my kids are still doing some of their independent work. They're finishing up. This is Brinley's history that she's reading. Here, Holland's helping me. I found that if you can let little kids if they even just think that they're doing something big, it can be just stirring, or it's amazing how easily they just think something is such a big deal. If they just have a little part of it, they're just so happy. So she loved pouring the bag of frozen peppers in and stirring the meat for me. And after that, she was done. She was happy. She did her part. I realized as I was making this meal that we are on our very last jar of diced tomatoes. I love our home canned diced tomatoes. Originally, when I first did it, I thought it was way too much work until I tasted them, and they are amazing. So we need to do more of that next year. This is what the dish looks like. It's basically tortilla chips, and then the cowboy grub, we put sour cream and cheese on it. This is one that everybody just loves. I just noticed the other day that I think I make a lot of skillet meals. I don't know if that's because it makes a lot or it's just, I don't know, it's fast. We don't have to eat all of our food. We don't always have to have home cooked from scratch food, but I just find that we like to. We're home and we can do it. We can, throw together something fun and tasty, and because the kids are there, it can be a learning process for them. We usually eat a lot of home cooked meals, and I just think it's worth the trouble. We don't always do it. Sometimes we'll do something simpler, but we like having home cooked food. After lunch, I read to my kids again, and usually we do this in the living room, but today we did it in the kitchen. Everybody was already at the table and they had different things they were working on. Today we're working on our portfolios, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. We finished up the book, The Mystery of the Periodic Table, and I am so glad that we worked through this. It was a little challenging at the end, but the kids traced the periodic table of elements, which was a really fun project that's going in their portfolios. And I asked them what they want to do next now that we've finished this book. And most of them said that they wanted to do some kind of nature study. My one daughter said she wanted to do something on the body, on the human body. So if any of you have any suggestions for that, I am open to it because that's something she did ask for. But I'm thinking that after this, I might just do, especially since it's spring, have them find some things that they want to study, different birds or things that are popping up outside, and try the Handbook of Nature Study by, I think that's by Comstock. When I was homeschooling in my early years, I wouldn't have had the courage to kind of go off the map the way I have with some of my kids lately. I would have wanted to just really stick to the curriculum, but I think the more experience you have, the longer you've been doing it, you kind of want to just try new things, and that's where I am, especially with science. A lot of our curriculum, I do the same thing that I've always done. It's easy to just streamline everything, but with science, I've just really wanted to be more creative this year. The last thing we're working on here is our portfolios. Well, actually, my daughter there is doing a drawing. That's something separate, but they're all working on their portfolio covers, and I'm hoping to do a video about this. I have a post on the blog about it if you'd like to look that up. Thanks for coming along with us today. I invite you to watch the video I did a couple weeks ago on an ordinary day in our homeschool. It's another day in the life video. I do one video a week on homeschooling encouragement for everyday moms.